It's true, Harry has talked to his brother, and he has talked to his father, too.
Prince Harry sharing painful and deeply personal details of the family rift that rocked the British royal family and the world.
I don't think that we can ever have peace with my family unless the truth is out there.
We've seen the British royal family fight over absurd things, like a military uniform and Harry's beard. But it just took a shocking turn. Always regarded as a loyal ally of King Charles, Queen Camilla has now been caught in the crossfire of the battle between Harry and his father.
You and your brother both directly asked your dad not to marry Camilla.
Yes.
Why?
We didn't think it was necessary.
The fight was so dirty that she ordered the palace to limit the king's interaction with his younger son, leaving Charles in a difficult position. How did the royal family find itself in this predicament? And what are Harry and his stepmother's latest explosive moves? Join us as we bring you the latest episodes of the British royal feud, King Charles and Queen Diana. We know you are dying to hear the full gist. We can't wait to tell you either, so let's take a short walk into the past. The year was 2005. King Charles was getting ready to marry his new wife, Queen Camilla, formally, but his children were not particularly happy about it. Still, Prince Harry's opposition to the marriage stood out among them. If you recall the tales of princes and princesses, the wicked stepmother was always the villain.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
This unwanted family member is often portrayed as cold, uncaring, or dangerous. Prince Harry adopted a similar view about his stepmother. This became obvious after the release of his memoir, Spare.
Cover of Prince Harry's book, one of the most anticipated in decades. It's called Spare and goes on sale January 10th.
In the book, Harry discloses that he and his brother, Prince William, begged their father not to marry Camilla. Before that time, King Charles had been involved in a lengthy affair with Camilla, and even during his 15-year marriage to Princess Diana, Harry's mother, King Charles' affair with Camilla continued. Harry claimed in Spare that even though he and Willie urged their father not to proceed, he was determined to proceed. However, they shook his hand and wished him well, reassuring him that there were no hard feelings. He believed his father would finally be with the woman he loved, the one he had always loved more than his mother. Harry probably developed these feelings after watching everything between his father and his late mother. This brings up an important question. What was King Charles's relationship with Harry's mother like? While their 15-year marriage was blessed with the two princes, it ultimately ended in a bitter divorce, marked by mutual infidelity that shook the monarchy.
This is the first time in modern political history that the palace has had to announce the separation of the heir to the throne.
It is announced from Buckingham Palace that with regret, the Prince and Princess of Wales have decided to separate.
The most embarrassing part is just ahead. Nearly every dramatic moment of their relationship was exposed to the world, with some dirty secrets splashed across tabloids and others shared during interviews they gave. For instance, in 1995, Diana famously told the BBC that there were 3 of them in the marriage, making it a bit crowded.
Do you think Mrs. Parker Bowles was a factor in the breakdown of your marriage?
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
Many believed that the third person referenced here was Queen Camilla, who had been secretly seeing King Charles during this period. Another disturbing revelation came during a television documentary about Prince Charles. While Charles discussed various topics, the documentary is most remembered for the moment he confessed to having been unfaithful to Diana. In the interview with journalist Jonathan Dimbleby, Charles stated that he had been absolutely faithful to Diana.
Did you try to be faithful and honorable to your wife when you took on the vow of marriage?
Yes, absolutely.
Until it became irretrievably broken down, us both having tried. However, Diana put up a stunt on the same day that Charles openly admitted to infidelity online. She made a public appearance wearing a striking black dress, later known as the revenge dress. This is where things got crazier. It appeared both parties had been cheating on each other. Diana, like Charles, acknowledged her infidelities during her interview with Martin Bashir on BBC's Panorama. She revealed that she had a 5-year relationship with Major James Hewitt, who had recently published a book detailing their affair.
A book was published called Princess in Love in 1994. Hewitt was a major source in this book, and he alleged that he'd had a 5-year affair with Princess Diana from 1986 to 1991. Diana then confirmed the affair in the 1995 Panorama interview.
Diana admitted that she was in love with James, but felt very let down by his publications of their relationship. That is not all. She also mentioned Charles's unfaithfulness and suggested that he was unsuitable for the throne, while also criticizing the monarchy for being out of touch with reality. The press had noted earlier that they seemed distant and unhappy during several public appearances. Some people believe that their marriage was so embarrassing for Queen Elizabeth that she supported and encouraged their decision to divorce. Unfortunately, Diana died in 1997, just a little over a year after they signed their formal divorce agreements.
The princess, who spent her life in the relentless glare of the public eye, died in a speeding car in Paris, apparently trying to evade pursuing photographers.
More frequently, King Charles began to see his mistress, Queen Camilla, and they finally decided to formalize their union in 2005. Neither Harry nor his brother were happy with their father's actions. In their opinion, it was unacceptable that the woman who scattered their parents' union would finally become their stepmother. However, it seemed Harry took it more personally than William's, as we would soon see, Prince Harry and Queen Camila. We mentioned earlier that Harry tried to dissuade his father from getting married to Queen Camilla in 2005, but he failed. In his memoirs, Harry recalls moments that many stepchildren might relate to. They were the most challenging period to adjust to his father's new marriage. In one episode, probably from the late 90s, he was emotionally disturbed and worried whether Camilla would be cruel to him, much like the wicked stepmothers he had read in storybooks. He also mentions that William had long harbored suspicions about the other woman. Harry further claims that when he moved out of their former home, Clarence House, at 28, Camilla immediately converted his bedroom into her dressing room, as though she had been waiting for him to move out. Apart from these personal stories, Harry has gone further in his book and promotional interviews by openly criticizing Camilla's character. For instance, he accused her of having a calculated plan to repair her public image as the other woman. Harry believes that Camilla is aware that the public doesn't like nor regard her as a legitimate queen, so she draws up a strategy to marry his father and eventually become queen consort formally. One of the most surprising claims in Harry's memoir, Spare, and subsequent interviews is his portrayal of Queen Camilla as a central antagonist. While Camilla was known for her charity work and efforts to rehabilitate her image during her relationship with King Charles, her efforts were acknowledged by the late Queen Elizabeth, who bestowed upon her the consort title on the eve of her Platinum Jubilee. However, Harry believes that Queen Camilla's attempts to improve her public image were more dirty than these. In an interview with ITV's Tom Bradby, he discussed the relationship between the royal family and the British press, describing it as being filled with briefings, leakings, and plantings.
The relationship between certain members of the family and the tabloid press, those certain members have decided to get into bed with the devil.
He accused some royal family members of metaphorically getting into bed with the devil, specifically pointing to an incident where Queen Camilla allegedly leaked personal information about him to the press. In exchange, the press gave more favorable coverage of the Queen's image. That is not all. In Spare, Harry claims that his father and Camilla's spin doctor decided to sacrifice his reputation by leaking details about his drug use in 2002. He added that King Charles sent him to a drug rehabilitation center to gain public sympathy for himself as a concerned father and to improve his relationship with the public. Harry also recounts that in 2019, William was furious because Pa and Camilla's people had planted stories about him, Kate, and the children. Fed up with the situation, William stated, "Give Pa and Camilla an inch, they take a mile." In another interview on 60 Minutes with Anderson Cooper, Harry intensified his criticism of Camilla, describing her as dangerous due to her connections with media members.
You wrote, "I even wanted Camilla to be happy. Maybe she'd be less dangerous if she was happy."
Mm-hmm.
How was she dangerous?
Because of the need for her to rehabilitate her image.
That made her dangerous.
That made her dangerous because of the connections that she was forging within the British press.
He claimed there was a mutual willingness between Camilla and the press to exchange information. Harry explained that within a family driven by hierarchy, and with Camilla on her path to becoming queen consort, it was inevitable that some people would be sacrificed along the way, saying there would be people or bodies left in the street. He further labeled his stepmother as the villain. He referred to her as the third person in the marriage, a remark that mirrors his mother Diana's famous statement in her 1995 interview with Martin Bashir, where she said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage." Harry said he had mixed emotions about gaining a stepmother, which he felt had recently undermined him for her public relations advantage. He writes, "I had complex feelings about gaining a step-parent who, I believed, had recently sacrificed me on her PR altar." Despite these feelings, he admits that he hoped for Camilla's happiness, thinking that perhaps she would be less dangerous if she was happy. But maybe the most troubling part of this story is King Charles getting caught in the crossfire between his lovely wife and younger son. Before we reveal that, it is important to talk about Harry's relationship with the king, Prince Harry and King Charles. Prince Harry's conflicts within the royal family go beyond his stepmother. He has also been at odds with his father for a long time. Their issues started a few years ago when his father objected to his decision to move abroad with his wife, Meghan Markle. In the Netflix documentary series Harry and Meghan, Harry recalled a tense encounter in 2020 that further damaged his relationship with his father. During a meeting with senior royals, his father confronted him aggressively and presented him with options: total commitment to the royal family or complete withdrawal. Harry chose a middle ground, opting to remain partially involved. However, neither Charles nor his brother, Prince William, approved this decision, leading to a heated confrontation. Harry described the experience as frightening. He also mentioned that his father made false accusations against him during the meeting, while his grandmother remained silent. Harry also recalled a painful episode from the 90s. He refers to it as one of the darkest moments of his life. His mother had just died in a fatal crash in Paris. When King Charles broke the news of Princess Diana's death to him, he showed no emotional support. Specifically, Charles simply placed a hand on Harry's knee and told him, "It's going to be okay," which Harry felt was a hollow reassurance and not the comfort he needed at that traumatic time. Harry probably thought the king already had Camilla as a replacement for his mum, especially since they had concluded their divorce process. Additionally, Harry disclosed that the royal family, particularly his father, did not provide him with adequate support during his struggles with PTSD following his military service in Afghanistan. He made more shocking revelations during a 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey. Harry declared that his father, then Prince Charles, had been giving him silent treatment because he had decided to return from royal duties. He also mentioned that the royal family did not offer support when British tabloids relentlessly attacked his wife, Meghan. Although Harry wanted to mend ties, Charles stopped answering his calls. Despite the pain this caused, he declared a continued love for his father. This episode of Charles ignoring Harry's calls was later discussed in Robert Jobson's book, Our King, Charles III, The Man and the Monarch Revealed. The book offers a detailed portrayal of events behind the scenes and notes that Harry initially sought Queen Elizabeth's advice about his running issues with his father. However, she recommended that he and Charles resolve their differences directly rather than involving her as a mediator. The next revelation is even more interesting. Jobson reports that King Charles stopped answering Prince Harry's calls after Harry swore at him and repeatedly asked for money. When the late Queen Elizabeth questioned Charles why he didn't give in, he responded that he wasn't a bank. During his visit to the UK for Prince Philip's funeral in 2021, Harry tried to reconcile with Prince William and King Charles, but his attempts failed. Harry described the reunion in his memoir, Spare, noting that it quickly turned into another argument despite his efforts to avoid conflict. He added that the situation was beyond his control, as his father and brother had made up their minds, ready for a clash. Prince Harry had hoped to use the opportunity to explain his decision to move to California, but felt he never got the chance during the heated discussion. Reflecting on the moment, He said he tried to share his side but became anxious and struggled to control his emotions while attempting to speak clearly and concisely. Unfortunately, the family conversation quickly escalated into yet another argument. Harry recounted how tensions between him and his brother intensified until their father intervened, raising his hands and saying, "Enough!" Standing between his sons and looking up at their flushed faces, King Charles pleaded, "Please, boys, don't make my final years a misery." But let us put Harry's clash with King Charles aside for a while. Another critical controversy between them happened during the burial of Queen Elizabeth.
Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II has died. Queen Elizabeth has been monarch of the United Kingdom and head of the Commonwealth nations since 1952.
Military uniform controversy. During the burial rites of Queen Elizabeth in 2022, King Charles refused Harry's proposal to wear a military uniform. King Charles believed that Harry was no longer an active member of the royal family and did not deserve the honor of wearing the ceremonial uniform for the burial. However, here is where things get interesting. Charles allowed Prince Andrew, who had also stepped down from royal duties due to his ties with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, to wear his military uniform during the Queen's final vigil. There were different reactions to King Charles' decision. For instance, royal biographer Christopher Anderson told Us Weekly that the choice was expected, adding, "It was the Queen's wish, and Charles wanted to ensure her wishes were honored." On the other hand, commentator Shola Mos-Shogbamamu strongly criticized the move, telling Newsweek, "This is a clear case of double standards. It shows how out of touch the royal family is and their failure to grasp public sentiment, sending entirely the wrong message." Despite initial resistance, Prince Charles eventually allowed Prince Harry to wear his military uniform. However, the damage was done, further straining the relationship between Harry and Charles. In their Netflix docuseries, Prince Harry mentioned that his family had difficulty understanding his reasons for leaving the royal family. Although they tried to address the situation at Philip's funeral, their efforts were unsuccessful. The most pressing issue within the royal family now seems to be responsibility. Stay tuned as we reveal more about this unfolding situation. Prince Harry feels that his brother and father are solely responsible for not understanding his reasons for leaving the royal family. He also doubts he will ever receive a sincere apology or see any accountability. Harry added that he and Meghan have moved forward and are concentrating on their future. Rumors abound that King Charles's relationship with his beloved Queen Camilla is not always as smooth as it seems to the public.
Charles and Camilla tomorrow. You know, their love story has been at the center of TV dramas. It's been splashed across the tabloids. But now, after a decades-long, often controversial love affair,
King Charles is torn between Harry and Queen Camilla. Royal insiders have claimed that King Charles is facing a challenging year with rising tensions and strained relationships. But this time, not just restricted to Harry alone, but Queen Camilla. Despite appearing normal in public, the king feels pressure from these situations. Queen Camilla has taken a firm stance against King Charles, welcoming Prince Harry and daughter-in-law Meghan back into the royal family. According to palace insiders, Camilla has barred Harry from seeing his father or staying at any royal residence without prior notice. Sources close to the monarch also added that Charles was blindsided. Camilla took matters into her own hands. This is all unfolding as the king attempts to reconcile with Harry. The report added that Camilla's request led to their biggest ever fight and left their marriage on the rocks. While some insiders claim that Camilla is now advocating for peace, sources told the National Enquirer that she harbors no affection for Harry, especially after he attacks her person. The palace sources also revealed that Camilla seemed to be the power behind the throne, and her role has grown increasingly more important since the king had to step back for cancer treatment. Firm when he confessed to feeling guilty about Harry not being a better father during his childhood. Despite the ongoing issues with Harry, another source revealed that Charles is willing to forgive, though only on his terms. But Camilla doesn't want him to feel any guilt. In fact, she doesn't see the need for the king to mend ties with his younger son. However, the drama between King Charles and his wife only goes a little beyond Harry's matter. For instance, Queen Camilla was not happy when King Charles publicly disclosed his treatment for an enlarged prostate and cancer diagnosis earlier this year.
We've received breaking news from Buckingham Palace, which has announced that the King has been diagnosed with cancer.
According to Robert Jobson, author of the 2023 biography, Our King, Charles III, The Man and the Monarch Revealed, the 75-year-old king ultimately announced, despite fierce opposition from his wife. Jobson explained to The Independent that Queen Camilla had initially been against disclosing his condition, but the king overruled her, believing it was an opportunity to lead by example and encourage men with similar symptoms to seek prompt medical attention. Beyond serious matters such as the king's health and Harry's running issues with the royal family, the king and Queen Camilla have also clashed over minor issues. Queen Camilla's sister, Annabel Elliot, provides insight into this private struggle. In a conversation with Robert Hardman, as reported by OK, Annabel explained that the tension partly arises from Charles and Camilla being opposites. One of their main private disputes involves whether to keep the windows open while sleeping, which has led to frequent disagreements. Annabel described the dispute. He will have opened it. She will sneak in behind and close it. So there's a lot of, "Oh, darling, you shut the window." "Yes, I have, because we're all freezing." So there's a lot of playful banter about it. She also noted that while King Charles usually wins the battle over the windows, Camilla tends to win most other things in their marriage. Despite the running issues, Queen Camilla has grown increasingly influential in the royal family. Queen Camilla, Harry's dilemma. Queen Camilla has stepped up her role in the royal family in recent months due to King Charles's health challenges and cancer treatment. Her growing influence within the royal household has led to fears that King Charles may never fulfill his desire to mend ties with Harry. However, Camilla is only sometimes the celebrity queen you see today. It took her years to build this reputation with the British people. This takes us back to 1981, during the wedding of Charles and Diana. Diana spotted a woman in a pale gray dress and pillbox hat as she walked up the aisle, as reported by Sky News. That woman was Camilla. Caroline Davies noted in The Guardian that the close bond between Camilla and the future king was so powerful that it disrupted both their marriages, outraged the British royal family, and portrayed Camilla as a scheming marriage wrecker throughout Britain. The most critical moment in their relationship came in 1993. Someone leaked a secretly recorded phone conversation between the two in what is known as the tampongate scandal.
For my wife, myself, and indeed for the entire royal family, culminating in the recent despicable broadcast of private telephone conversations, unlawfully recorded between myself and a married woman of my acquaintance, Camilla Parker Bowles.
The recording contained explicit and embarrassing details of their long-term affair, including intimate conversations. Remember that both were married to different partners then. The leak brought negative publicity, especially for Camilla. Following Princess Diana's 1995 interview, in which she publicly acknowledged Camilla's presence in her marriage and referred to her as a Rottweiler, the media labeled the Queen the most hated woman in Britain. This negative reputation proved difficult for Camilla to overcome. However, according to Davies of The Guardian, had Diana not tragically died in a car accident in Paris in 1997, public acceptance of Camilla as a future queen might have been less challenging. Despite the growing acceptance of their relationship, the tragic event forced the couple to put their P. Camilla temporarily, and was compelled to maintain a low profile. A friend told The Times that Camilla's resilience and strong sense of duty have been instrumental in helping her through these difficult circumstances. Fast forward to today, Queen Camilla, once viewed as a controversial figure within the House of Windsor, and a central player in the troubled marriage of King Charles to the late Princess Diana, has become one of the monarchy's most important representatives. Camilla gracefully filled the gap when the King and Kate, the Princess of Wales, could not fulfill their royal duties due to cancer treatments. She also expanded her public engagements and kept the royal family in the public spotlight. However, there are reports that Prince Harry wants to reunite with the royal family. Let us look at what this means for Queen Camilla. You cannot afford to miss this part.
She said she wanted Prince Charles's wife, Camilla, to take the title of Queen Consort when he becomes king.
Harry's future relationship with Queen Camilla and the royal family. There have been indications that Prince Harry is interested in returning to the United Kingdom and reintegrating into the royal family, which could lead to a reconciliation with his father. According to the Mail on Sunday, Harry has been reaching out to former royal aides and old friends to re-establish himself in British social circles. Aside from that, other signs indicate that he may be ready to move on from the past and reconnect with the royal family. The media also reported that he is seeking advice from people he knew as a working royal after expressing dissatisfaction with the counsel he received in the United States. Just last month, it was revealed that his chief of staff, Josh Kettler, had resigned after only 3 months in the position. A source told the Mail on Sunday, Harry is distancing himself from Hollywood publicists and seeking guidance from his old friends and associates in the UK. It's clear that he's realizing, I need to make a change because my current approach isn't working. In essence, he's reevaluating his strategy. Mail on Sunday also revealed that Prince Harry has sent friendly WhatsApp messages to old friends who are willing to assist him in reintegrating into British society to some extent. However, how easily Harry would reconcile with British culture needs to be clarified, especially with his running issues with his brother and stepmother, Queen Camilla. Some friends reportedly refer to the effort to facilitate Harry's partial return as Operation Bring Harry In from the Cold. A source told The Sun, Harry is feeling increasingly isolated in California, which is why he has been reconnecting with old friends back home. Prince Harry might need to address the ongoing tensions with his royal relatives to reintegrate into British social circles. Reports indicate that King Charles is open to reconciling with Prince Harry. However, Harry has an ongoing legal dispute with the British government over his security details. After stepping down from royal duties in 2020,
the weekend's announcements that Harry and Meghan will step back from all royal duties.
The Home Office reduced Harry's level of protection. Harry filed an action. He lost the case but plans to appeal. Royal sources believe the king would prefer if Harry dropped the case entirely. Prince Harry has also filed a lawsuit against a British tabloid, alleging unlawful information gathering about his life. However, his father did not support his legal efforts. In fact, since 2019, Harry has filed lawsuits against 3 of Britain's leading tabloid publishers. Harry stated that King Charles warned him that his legal actions were a suicide mission rather than supporting him. Another potential issue they must resolve is the upcoming paperback release of Harry's controversial memoir, Spare. While paperback editions of non-fiction books often include additional chapters or updated information.
In tonight's Fact or Fiction, we are looking into yet another claim about The Simpsons predicting a big news event. The story this time is that the iconic TV show eerily predicted the outbreak of the coronavirus.
For over 30 years, The Simpsons has been more than just a hilarious cartoon. It's been strangely predictive of real-world events. From mind control through music to the possibility of a nuclear disaster.
No, this can't be happening!
The show has consistently mirrored the unexpected twists and turns of our world. Now with 2025 fast approaching, what else has The Simpsons predicted?
Wake up, everybody! It's World War III!
What crazy Simpsons scenarios could come true in 2025? In this video, we will look into Simpsons predictions for 2025. AI robots. The Simpsons are kind of spooky when it comes to predicting the future, especially with technology. Take Treehouse of Horror 14, where Homer loses his job due to an alcohol test, hinting at a future where robots take over jobs, something that's happening now with AI. By 2025, robots could be doing a lot more than just assisting. They could be taking over entire roles.
What do you think your greatest skills are?
Well, I would say that one of my greatest skills is my ability to interact with humans in a conversational manner.
Another episode has Homer and his friends training AI robots, a thought that felt crazy back then but is happening today. But just like in the 1994 Itchy and Scratchy Land episode where robots go rogue, there are real warnings about AI turning against us.
I look at their hands, which have turned into buzzsaws. And
With AI advancing so fast, we might be in for some big changes by 2025. What other Simpsons predictions should we look out for in 2025? Could The Simpsons be the ultimate fortune teller? What you are about to hear will blow your mind. Apple Vision Pro. The Simpsons may have seen the future when they showed Springfield residents using virtual reality headsets in their 2016 episode Friends and Family. The characters used the headsets to travel anywhere, finish tasks, and enjoy life without moving a muscle. Sound familiar? This looks a lot like Apple's Vision Pro, which lets users interact with a virtual world using just their eyes and hands.
A video that has gone viral on social media claims The Simpsons predicted the newly released Apple Vision Pro. And in the clip, characters are seen going about their daily lives. You can see them wearing virtual reality headsets.
The episode hilariously shows how people got so caught up in their virtual lives that they forgot about the real world. In 2025, with devices like the Vision Pro gaining popularity, will we see The Simpsons' prediction come true? Maybe it's time to prepare for a future where virtual reality blends into our everyday lives in ways we never imagined. FIFA controversy. The Simpsons predicted the infamous FIFA bribery scandal in the episode You Don't Have to Live Like a Referee, Season 25, Episode 16. The storyline shows corrupt soccer officials being arrested and highlights bribery in international football. Interestingly, shortly after the episode aired in 2014, real-life FIFA executives were indeed arrested for corruption.
FIFA, the world governing body for soccer, is under fire yet again for corruption allegations related to the 2018 and 2022 World Cup bids,
making the prediction eerily accurate. The episode also features Homer standing firm against taking a bribe while working as a referee, a humorous take that contrasts sharply with real-world events. The show's writers even depicted Brazil losing to Germany in the World Cup, though in real life, this occurred during the semifinals instead of the finals. Looking ahead to 2025, given FIFA's continued controversies and global discussions about transparency in sports, it wouldn't be surprising if The Simpsons' foresight continues to resonate. Black hole. India's recent space launch might help us reveal new secrets about black holes, but a 2013 Simpsons episode, Treehouse of Horror 23, had something even scarier in mind. In this spooky tale, a small black hole appears in Springfield and starts pulling in objects. As it grows larger, it devours more and more, eventually consuming all of Springfield. But instead of destroying everything, the black hole transports the people and objects to another dimension, where extraterrestrial beings greet them as visitors from another realm. It's a wild idea that raises the question, could black holes really be gateways to other worlds? With space exploration advancing, could something like this actually be discovered in 2025? It's both exciting and terrifying to think about. Holographic technology. In the Simpsons episode titled Bart to the Future, we get a fun look into a future where holograms are used for everything, including sending messages. The episode is funny and impressive, but here's the big question. Could holograms actually replace phones by 2025? Could they become our main way to communicate? In that same episode, there's also a scene where a mailman delivers a letter to Bart in the form of a hologram, complete with the phrase, "smell you later," as a sign-off instead of a typical goodbye. This playful take on future communication is pretty fun to think about, especially when you realize that holograms are already starting to pop up in the real world. You can actually find HD 3 holograms in some stores like Best Buy. We're not living in a hologram-filled world just yet, but it's pretty clear that we're on our way. Zombie apocalypse. In The Simpsons, a zombie apocalypse sparked by a food-related crisis becomes a hilariously chilling prediction. In the Treehouse of Horror XX episode, a burger called Burger Square, made from cannibalistic cows, turns out to be a deadly creation. The first person to take a bite, Kent Brockman, quickly transforms into a zombie-like creature called a muncher. The virus spreads fast, turning Springfield into a zombie-infested chaos, leaving only the Simpson family to survive. Bart is mysteriously immune, and the family races to find safety amid the madness. While this wild scenario is full of laughs, it also paints a picture of how a foodborne disaster could spiral out of control. While a zombie outbreak may seem far-fetched, The idea of a food-related pathogen causing mass panic feels a bit too real. Nuclear Armageddon. The Simpsons has once again made a spine-tingling prediction about nuclear Armageddon, and fans can't help but be on edge. In one episode, Homer is the only survivor of a nuclear disaster, and this is a very unsettling thought that feels a little too close for comfort. Another plotline sees a secret organization setting off a nuclear explosion. What's even creepier? The world today is seeing rising nuclear tensions, especially with military threats in the air, like those from Russia. The Simpsons even predicts disruptions like solar flares or nuclear plant meltdowns that could bring chaos. And scientists today are warning about real threats, like cyber attacks on nuclear plants or solar storms messing with our tech. Is it really happening? Only time will tell, but this is a prediction to watch out for. Economic collapse. Imagine this. The Simpsons predicted the financial chaos of 2025, where an economic collapse has the potential to reshape the world as we know it. The show, with its knack for predicting the future, has already given us a glimpse of what this might look like. In one of the episodes, Treehouse of Horror 99, a disastrous economic fallout begins when Homer's job at the nuclear plant goes south, leading to societal breakdown. Fast forward to Back to the Future, and we see Lisa Simpson as president, inheriting a dire budget situation left by the previous administration. Her words echo real-world struggles. As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. Could 2025 see the fulfillment of these Simpsons predictions? If history repeats itself, we might be in for an economic roller coaster, with financial disasters and political power shifts reshaping everything we know. Moving to Mars. One of the most thrilling predictions from The Simpsons is the colonization of Mars. In a standout episode, Lisa and Marge embark on a mission to build a habitat on the Red Planet. While Lisa volunteers for a one-way trip, Marge isn't too thrilled. To stop her, the whole family signs up. The show imagines Mars colonization happening before 2026, though the mission initially fails. Lisa and Marge make it to Mars in 2051, but in a surprising twist, Lisa decides to move to Venus instead. This wild scenario might seem out there, but it aligns with Elon Musk's real-life ambitions for Mars. His SpaceX program is pushing for space travel and aiming to make Mars home for humanity. In fact, many have already applied for this mission, eager to make this space dream a reality. Hover cars. In 2005, The Simpsons predicted that Bart and Lisa would one day use a machine to look into their future. In this vision, Marge leaves Homer after he spends all their money on an underwater house and a hover car. The hover car, though a bit bumpy, takes them through a quantum tunnel, and the scene feels pretty futuristic. Then, in a 1992 episode of Itchy and Scratchy Land *, we see an older Homer and Bart walking down the street, passing by a hover car on their way to the cinema. By then, hover cars have become as common as any other mode of transportation. Fast forward to today, and while hover cars are still a dream for most, The Simpsons might not be too far off. In other episodes, Bart and Lisa cruise around the city in hover cars, showing us a future where they're the primary way of getting around. With all the advancements in tech and things like Elon Musk's work on electric vehicles, it's not too crazy to think we might see hover cars by 2025. Could The Simpsons have gotten this right? Let's wait and see. Autonomous vehicles. In The Simpsons, self-driving cars take a turn for the worse in the episode Baby You Can't Drive My Car. While self-driving vehicles are a huge leap forward, this episode shows how things can go wrong when technology doesn't work as expected. Homer and Marge end up in a self-driving car, and Homer gets confused about how to steer, only for the car to continue moving even when he needs a bathroom break. It's an unsettling thought, right? In real life, we've seen the development of self-driving cars, though they're still a work in progress. Companies like Tesla and Waymo are making strides, but challenges remain, from safety concerns to the legal side of things. There's also the issue of accidents caused by malfunctioning tech, just as The Simpsons predicted, like people walking into traffic while distracted by their VR headsets or having a self-driving car fail to stop in time. But all of these problems will be solved just in time for 2025, and we will get to fully see autonomous vehicles on our roads without major hiccups. curling gold medalist. In 2025, The Simpsons' prediction about curling will be even more remarkable. In the 2010 episode Boy Meets Curl, Homer, Marge, and the Skinners are seen training in curling and later competing for Team USA at the Winter Olympics. They face off against Sweden in the final, and against all odds, they win the gold medal. The episode aired with this fictional storyline, but it turned out to be eerily accurate. Fast forward to the 2018 Winter Olympics, where the U.S. men's curling team made history by winning their first ever Olympic gold medal, beating Sweden in the final match, just as The Simpsons predicted. The team, led by John Schuster, became national heroes, clinching the gold in a dramatic 10-7 victory over Sweden. This win went viral because the U.S. had never won Olympic gold in curling before, and the match became one of the most memorable moments of the 2018 Games.
Winning an historic gold medal in Pyeongchang, we welcome to the floor of the big board the U.S. men's curling team, John Schuster, Tyler George, Matt Hamilton, John Landsteiner, and Joe Polo.
Schuster and his team faced a lot of pressure, but they pulled off an incredible victory, cementing their place in Olympic history. What makes the prediction even more impressive is that The Simpsons had predicted this event more than 8 years before it happened. Virtual dining. In one unsettling Simpsons episode, the show takes a futuristic dive into virtual reality. While they might not have predicted the exact rise of VR, they definitely saw its potential dangers. Set in 2030, Homer and Marge use VR glasses and feeding tubes to experience virtual fudge, with Homer humorously complaining that virtual fudge tastes like crap. You'd think this no-calorie food would help Homer shed some pounds, but it doesn't. In real life, a company called Aerobanquets RMX has made virtual dining a reality, and even Royal Caribbean is experimenting with VR dining on their cruises. Picture this. Each bite of food transports you to a new virtual setting. Sounds cool, right? But here's the catch. People start wandering around with their VR headsets, causing accidents on the streets. In the show, Homer and Marge's odd way of eating through a feeding tube while plugged into a VR headset raises the question, could VR really change the way we eat and interact with the world? Sure, it sounds fun and futuristic, but as the episode warns, too much immersion in virtual worlds might lead to people losing touch with reality. So could this be the future of dining and living? Well, it seems like we're already heading that way. Large-scale environmental disaster. Who remembers the Simpsons movie from 2007? You know, the one where Homer somehow manages to dump a ton of pig poop into Springfield Lake, kicking off an environmental crisis of epic proportions? Naturally, the government steps in and wraps the town in a gigantic bubble to quarantine the disaster. A bit over the top? Sure, but the whole environmental mess? Well, that feels a little too close to home, doesn't it? Fast forward to 2025, and there are predictions of climate change right in our faces, rising sea levels, extreme weather, wildfires, and all that good stuff. While a bubble over Springfield might be a bit too extreme, it's not too far-fetched to imagine how these kinds of disasters could lead to huge real-life problems. Take a look at cities like Miami and New York, which are gearing up for flooding, or California, battling constant wildfires. All this stuff may get worse in 2025, and it looks like we might be heading towards some serious environmental consequences unless we start taking action. Solar automobiles. In The Simpsons episode Paths to Glory, Lisa builds a solar-powered car to race in the alternative energy derby, only for a massive blimp from Duff Beer to block the sun and stop her just before the finish line. Classic Simpsons comedy, right? But here's the kicker. In 2025, solar cars could actually become a reality. Companies like Tesla and Lightyear are pushing forward with solar-powered vehicles that could reduce fuel costs and carbon footprints. Sounds like a win, right? But just like Lisa's race, the journey won't be smooth. Big corporate players like those in the fossil fuel industry might throw some shade, literally, at the idea. Still, solar cars are inching closer to reality, and by 2025, you might just be cruising along in a car powered by nothing but the sun. Baby translator. Envision a world where parents could finally understand every little cry their baby makes. In the Simpsons episode Lisa the Simpson, Martin Prince comes up with the ultimate invention, a baby translator. This device supposedly decodes infant babble into full-on English, and at first, the family just laughs it off as a joke. Marge even says, "You don't have to humor me." But surprisingly, it actually works. And what does baby Maggie say? "And lavish attention on me and entertain me." Talk about a game changer, right? In the episode, this invention opens up the possibility of parents truly understanding what their baby wants. No more guessing or feeling like you're playing detective all day. We're not quite there yet, but the idea is seriously cool. The conclusion of existence. The Simpsons have always been ahead of their time, but in one episode, they took it to a whole new level with a little apocalyptic drama. In a flash of pure Homer wisdom, he predicts the end of the world based on a passage from Revelation chapter 6, verse 13. Stars falling to earth, the rapture, the whole shebang. Sounds like your typical end of the world stuff, right? Homer tells his friends and family that the apocalypse is coming, and when the day finally arrives, everyone's waiting for some big dramatic moment. But here's the twist. Nothing really happens, except Homer finds himself in heaven, of all places. No dramatic battle, no fiery chaos, just a big ol' surprise that he's chilling in the afterlife. This episode reminds us that the end could come at any time, but maybe it won't be as exciting as we think. You know, just a little Simpsons twist on the whole doomsday scenario. Personalized medicine and genetic advancements. In the classic episode Homer the Heretic, Homer visits a futuristic medical office where technology can instantly identify his health issues. It's a quick, almost comedic way to show how advancements in medicine could lead to personalized care tailored to your very DNA. But here's the kicker. This is no longer just TV fantasy. By 2025, we might be living in a world where personalized medicine isn't just for the super rich or Hollywood elites. We're already seeing real breakthroughs with CRISPR gene editing technology and custom-tailored treatments that match your genetic makeup. Picture getting a health diagnosis where your doctor doesn't just guess, but actually knows exactly what's going on inside your body at the genetic level. Sounds like the future, right? Well, the future might just be here before we know it. The rise of 3D printed food. In the episode The Food Wife from season 23, Homer, Marge, and the kids are introduced to the futuristic world of 3D printed food. They get to taste a meal that's created by a 3D printer that builds food layer by layer, almost like a mini food factory. While this might have seemed like a hilarious, far-fetched concept back then, the idea of 3D printed food is no longer just a funny cartoon idea, it's becoming a reality. Companies around the world are developing 3D printers that create food, using everything from chocolate to pizza dough. Some are even trying to make these techie meals more sustainable by printing foods with protein-rich ingredients like algae or plant-based substitutes. By 2025, we could be printing our meals at home, or at least grabbing a slice of pizza or a fancy dessert created by a printer in a restaurant. And who knows, with the rise of sustainability and innovation in food production, 3D printed food might become as common as microwaving a ready meal. Music-induced mind control. Some people consider The Simpsons episode New Kids on the Block from 2001 one of the creepiest they've ever seen. And honestly, it does give you chills. In this episode, Bart and his buddies, Milhouse, Nelson, and Ralph, form a boy band called Party Posse. But here's the kicker. This band isn't just a band. It's actually a secret operation by the US Navy to pump kids' brains full of subliminal messages.
They're recruiting people with subliminal messages.
Their hit song Drop the Bomb has a chorus that says Ivan et Nioje, which, when you flip it, actually says join the Navy.
Join the Navy.
Kind of spooky, right? And the strange part? This episode feels like it's creeping closer to reality. Some people argue that music, especially certain genres like hip-hop, has been used to brainwash listeners, and some even believe that music in general has been a tool used by elites to control the masses. Weird, but not entirely impossible, right? Music is everywhere, and it's powerful, so could it be used to mess with our minds? The Simpsons sure thought so. In this episode, the boy band's goal is way beyond just having fun. It's all about spreading a secret message to influence kids' thoughts, like a form of mind control. Which of these predictions excites you the most? Are you curious to see any of them happen in 2025? Video calls and smartwatches. In the episode that aired on March 19, 1995, which talks about Lisa's wedding, The Simpsons made a shocking prediction about video calls and smartwatches. This particular episode was surreal.
Simpsons also predicted the Apple Watch in 1995, 20 years before it was introduced.
Because it was set in the future where we see Lisa communicating with her family via a video call. It must be noted that at the time this was aired in the 90s, this technology was not available. This made the scene futuristic. This is not all because Lisa's fiancé was shown wearing a watch-like device that also functions as a communication tool, greatly resembling modern-day smartwatches. Fast forward to 2024, video calls and smartwatches are the order of the day with the advent of smartphones and phone applications like Skype and FaceTime. Smartwatches don't only tell time, but are used as accessories to track fitness, receive notifications, and even make calls. But that's not all, because the most amazing part of the video is yet to come. World War III. Season 11 contained an episode titled Barth to the Future, which aired on March 19th in the year 2000. In this episode, a startling prediction of the possibility of World War III was talked about.
Wake up, everybody! It's World War III! Quick, down to the fallout shelter. The bombs are dropping!
It showed a future where Lisa Simpson becomes the President of the United States after inheriting a country that was crumbling from Donald Trump. One of the scenes shows Lisa talking about the budget crisis she had inherited from her predecessors, which implied that things had gotten rock bottom before she took over.
You know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. How bad is it, Secretary Van Houten?
We're broke.
The country is broke? How can that be?
Although the prediction of World War III hasn't come to pass as of now, the portrayal of a future riddled with global conflicts is eerily accurate in capturing the current anxieties of our time. With the ongoing tensions between nations like Israel and Palestine, for example, with world powers like the US and Russia at opposite sides, and the Ukraine-Russian war, all these are bases for another world war, if you think the post-virtual reality. Virtual reality gaming was predicted as far back as 1998 by The Simpsons in the episodes titled Friends and Family. This episode shows Homer and Marge eating a virtual fudge through a straw on their VR headsets. Back then, it looked like something impossible, but with the recent advancements in technology, impossibilities have been made possible. A real-life company named Aero Banquets RMX has made VR foods.
Dining in virtual reality is pretty trippy.
It's tingly in my mouth.
It allows you to eat various foods such as sushi in Japan or a steak in Argentina while making use of VR to change your taste perception, thereby reframing the human mind and changing how we experience food. AI taking over jobs. Although many experts have since been sounding the alarm of the possibility of AI taking over people's jobs in years to come, it seems like the reality is here with us in 2024. However, The Simpsons has long predicted this as far back as 2012 with the episode titled Them Robot. This episode shows Homer losing his job due to Mr. Burns replacing all of the power plant's employees with robots. Mr. Burns says in this episode that humans will train the robots, then the robots would replace them. This is exactly how AI works in real life. In Japan, for example, real-life waiter robots are already replacing human waiters. There's also the belief that taxi drivers would be replaced by self-driving cars.
Fully autonomous cars picking up people and dropping them off just like a taxi, except the big difference is there's no driver.
ChatGPT would also replace some jobs, for example, coders, paralegals, financial advisors, stock traders, graphics designers, even translators. And of course, the training ChatGPT is based on was done by humans, which is much like what the episode of The Simpsons predicted. Kamala Harris becomes president. In the same Bart to the Future episode mentioned earlier, a surprising prediction about Kamala Harris becoming president was made, and this was in the form of Lisa being president of the United States. After entering power, Lisa mentions that she inherited a country that was in tough financial situations from the previous president, which was implied as Donald Trump. And this prediction came through, however, in part, when Kamala Harris became the Vice President of the United States in 2021.
Look at this picture. Lisa is also seen wearing a purple suit and pearl necklace, which is seemingly identical to what Vice President Kamala Harris wore on Inauguration Day.
Which made her the first female black and first Asian American to hold this position. And if anything happens to the current president, Kamala would become the president, thereby fulfilling the prediction made by The Simpsons. It's surreal and shocking how a cartoon has the ability to predict such futuristic events. AI Apocalypse. In the episode Bart Gets an F from Season 2, which aired on October 11, 1990, The Simpsons made a chilling prediction about an AI apocalypse. In this episode, Bart Simpson faces the prospect of failing the 4th grade and seeks help from Martin Prince, who is an overachieving classmate of his. In one scene, Bart daydreams about robots taking over the world, with machines ruling over humanity and enslaving humans. This humorous depiction of a dystopian future seemed far-fetched at the time. However, fast-forwarding to our present day, and the growing concerns about the potential dangers of artificial intelligence have become more common.
This is extremely important. I think the danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads, by a lot.
While we haven't experienced a full-blown AI apocalypse, there are growing concerns about the misuse of AI technology and its potential impact on society. Issues such as AI replacing humans at jobs, privacy concerns, and the development of autonomous weapons have raised alarm bells even among experts. Disney buying Fox. In Season 10, the episode When You Dish Upon a Star, which aired on November 8, 1998, The Simpsons made a perfect prediction of the acquisition of 20th Century Fox by Disney. Homer in this episode becomes a gossip columnist and befriends Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger, who are shown living in lavish mansions. Whilst driving to the house, a sign was seen in the background which shows 20th Century Fox as a division of Walt Disney's company. This little and unnoticeable joke turned out to be a prediction because in December of 2017, Disney announced its acquisition of 20th Century Fox and other holdings of 21st Century Fox.
Disney and 21st Century Fox, as well as consumers. The new combined company will include Fox's movie and TV studios and cable networks, and together the two companies will have 46 million subscribers around the world.
For a staggering amount valued at about $71 million 2 years later. This merger brought together two of the biggest giants in the world of entertainment. Disney gained control over Fox's vast library of contents, including The Simpsons itself. Trump's 2024 presidential bid. The accuracy of The Simpsons' predictions has always brought the questions as to how exactly the show gets it right. Perhaps the writers and producers of The Simpsons are making use of dark magic. However, they took it up a notch with their most dramatic prediction about Trump's 2024 presidential ambition. On Tuesday, November 15, 2022, former President Donald Trump, arguably one of the most controversial presidents, depending on who you ask, decided to reclaim the throne he lost in 2021. In his usual grand style, Trump took the stage and announced his ambition. That was when Al Jean, the screenwriter for The Simpsons, decided it was their time to shine again. Sharing a scene from a 2015 episode of the animated series, Jean showed the world that they had predicted this long before Trump declared his intentions.
I just started drawing pictures of Homer floating around in Trump's hair. And, you know, it's this whole sort of back and forth thing that they write something, I draw something, and, you know, and then the team draws something. It's fantastic.
In the 2015 episode titled Bart to the Future, Homer Simpson flies past a sign in the background that reads, Trump 2024. Coincidence or predictions? We don't know. However, this was way before Trump was ever president. These different predictions with their level of accuracy has been shocking to everyone, but the next one takes it to another level. Tragic submarine accident. A prediction that left a bitter taste in everyone's mouth after it came true was the tragic Russian submarine accident. In a 1994 episode of The Simpsons titled Marge Gets a Job, we see Homer working as a safety inspector at a plant. One scene shows a submarine imploding due to a design flaw, trapping and killing all the crew inside. This grim prediction sadly came true on August 12, 2000, when the K-141 Kursk submarine sank in the Barents Sea. All 118 crew members died because of a faulty torpedo that caused the submarine to sink.
Russian cities have held ceremonies remembering the 118 sailors who died when a nuclear submarine sank in the Barents Sea.
Reports say nearby ships felt a small explosion, followed by a bigger one. This accident is even more tragic because, although ships nearby felt the explosion, the Russian Navy didn't know an accident had happened. As a result, no search and rescue operations started until 6 hours later. When the submarine was found 16 hours after the rescue operation began, it was already 354 feet deep on the ocean floor. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.